All right, family, let me know if you can hear my voice. We're alive, we're breathing. All right, let's kick things off. Appreciate y'all. Sending lots of love. Make sure you follow these instructions from Truth Slay. Go ahead and hit that like button. And as always, let's get some visuals. Another beautiful day in the Matrix. All right. Let me just know if my mic is sounding good. Mr. Jansen, hope you're having a beautiful Saturn day. Appreciate you hanging out with us, as always. Lola Blondo, hope you're doing amazing. Appreciate you. Dustin, live from the firmament. Wow, what is this in this? I haven't watched this video yet. You're watching it with me live. It's like some kind of cabin at the top of a mountain. Mamma mia. Carrie, much love over to Ireland. Anybody from Ireland hanging out with us besides Carrie? I would love to know. I would love to know if this transmission is making it out there. I would love to explore Ireland a little more. And for those of you that, oh, you missed it. Never mind. Just a couple seconds ago on the screen was the same crazy chalet or something. I don't know. Crazy building at the top of this mountain. All right. Starting off this live stream strong from Anana Moose. Have you ever seen a moose in person, by the way? They are massive. I have a story about that actually. It's maybe a little bit better than the answer to this question. So let's start there. So, my first time ever going to Yosemite, no, not Yosemite, excuse me, Yellowstone. My first time ever going to Yellowstone was on a road trip with a friend of mine. And as you do when you are on a road trip, you take turns sleeping, driving, sleeping, driving. Well, it got to my turn where I was allowed to sleep. My friend was driving the car. And you know, when you wake up suddenly, like really suddenly, almost like forced to waking up. And you know that feeling when you're on an elevator and you're like falling, where you don't feel like your stomach is inside of your body anymore? Well, I had those two things happen at the same time. I was asleep in the passenger seat of a car, and I was immediately woken up by the sound of brakes, you know, the skidding out of a car. slamming of the brakes, and my friend basically being like, going crazy. And I look up and there's a fucking moose there. It was it looked like a dinosaur. You know when you've never seen a moose before? I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We don't have moose out there. This shit was crazy. I thought I saw a dinosaur. I was like, this is the closest and realest thing to a dinosaur I've ever seen. So that's my story. My first moose sighting was almost crashing into it. And this thing was so brolic that like it would have destroyed my car. It was stopped in the middle of the road, confident that whatever this car is that's approaching me, it can't do shit to me. That was like the confidence this moose had. Massive creature. And yeah, majestic. Majestic in many ways. Anyways, let's get to the question. Anonymous says, can you go into more depth about the potential 2025 war and the implications, if you have any, on the crypto stock market or stock market, please? Yeah, I actually shared a clip on this recently. Let me show you real quick. Those of you that are newer here, or for those of you that are just tuning in to a live for the first time. One moment. Because I think this is a very good clip for you to check out. It gives context to what I'm about to answer. It'll be very helpful for everyone. Let me orient. Let me remove the question real quick. All right. So over here on my Instagram page, this is my official Instagram account. There is a scammer pretending to be me who has the tag Waters Above Official or something like that. And they have like 57,000 followers. So it's just a fake account. They paid to load up that profile. So watch out for that. First of all, this is my official account, spelled Waters Above without the O in above. And this is the same handle I'm using on X, and did make a new TikTok for those people out, for those TikTokers out there. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, over on Instagram, we're starting a new project, have some really dope art sharing over there. And just to come back to the question, I have this clip right here. It's called the War Code. I know it's kind of blocked out by this share more posts from Waters Above thing, but that post right there, go check that out. It talks about the War Code. And then I also have another clip talking about 1964, 1965, and it's right next to it. So just check out these two clips. Incredibly valuable. And everything else I've been putting out lately, super high quality over on Instagram. So make sure you follow that official account. Anyways, getting back to this question. And we have the context of 2025, next year. And where is this all coming from, right? Well, first and foremost, we're already in war. The world is in war. No different than World War II. This is officially World War III that we're in right now. For those people that want to deny that, it's time to wake up. But there's a couple of dominoes that need to fall in order for the USA to enter this war. And that is when they will officially call it World War III. Or they might start telling you when China gets more involved or Russia gets more involved. But we're effectively there, right? Now, there's a pattern for the United States with the year of the snake. And we're moving into the year of the snake next year. And for those of you that want to go do your research, 1917, World War I, that was when the USA entered that war. And it was the year of the snake. You have 1941, that was during World War II. That was when the USA entered World War II, and that was during the year of the snake. Also, that was when the Pearl Harbor event happened. So that's really powerful to keep in mind, because a false flag event no different than a 9/11 or a Pearl Harbor or Gulf of Tonkin, but particularly those two I started with, the Pearl Harbor situation. I would not be surprised if there's one of those next year for the US. The reason I'm not the most confident in quote unquote predicting that now is because the difference was we were in a Shemitah year during the year 2001, where we had that 9/11 event. So, yeah, there's plenty of other elements we need to add here to be confident in our decode. But one thing that I'm very confident about is the USA going into the war. Now, the reason why they enter the war, that's up for endless, theories, and we could, of course, have fun. But with World War One and World War Two and Vietnam, the USA going to war, all three of those modern examples during the year of the snake, it really boosts my confidence that they will go to war during this particular 2025 year. And we could just be open minded to the very end of 2025 into early 2026 because the Chinese New Year would overlap. You all know this probably. So when we enter the year of the snake would be February, it's actually the last day of January to be 100% accurate. January 29th, 2025. And then we'll be in the year of the snake all the way until I believe it's about February 2026. So we have that small little overlap with the Gregorian year. And if we were to repeat like what happened with 1941 with the Pearl Harbor situation, then we could even have it happen in December. And I'm open to that too. It would just be shocking for us to wait that whole time out and then finally get hit with an event in December because we already have a big event coming up right around the corner, which is the US election. And we know this election is going to be the most polarizing event, as it usually is every 4 years. But this one in particular is quite dramatic, very divided. So I still feel, regardless, that the time frame up until Chinese New Year, which would be the end of January 2025, can be an incredibly bullish time for the markets in general. And this is where I'll wrap up talking about the markets because I don't love to talk about them when I'm doing these live streams. I call it a live stream of consciousness for a reason because I want to talk about, what's the world stage at large. And that's why I'm even answering this question because it does have some other elements besides just the crypto and the stock market. But I do feel April and March of 2025, there's going to be an event specifically for the USA, or an event that happens that triggers the USA to start making some moves. Now, I am not calling for a war on US soil. I still think there's plenty of time before it gets that wacky. But I do think the controllers of this matrix, the stewards of our matrix, some of you might call them the elite, they're working overtime to predictively program all of you with as much Hollywood propaganda as humanly possible to get you all to assume that there will be a civil war. I have an opinion about this, and I'll just wrap up my answer to this question right now. I'm pretty bullish until Q2. I feel Q2 is going to be the start of bearish energy. I'm open-minded to a little bit of recovery into no later than September 2025, but we'll reassess as we get closer. And I appreciate your support. And I left you with lots of value, lots of gnosis there, stuff that you all could look up on your own and do what you want with that information. And by the way, I have a new decode coming out soon that will be dedicated to some of this information and getting a lot deeper into it. Of course, it'll be long form, and it's going to be called Black Moon Decoded, dedicated to this upcoming December. I'll talk a little bit about the election stuff if I can get it out before the election, but I don't want to rush the creation of art. I'm not a content creator. I try to make everything a very unique artistic endeavor so that when you all come around to what I'm sharing, it feels unique and individual and genuine and not some carbon copy. And I know you all appreciate that. But anyways, I wanted to come back to something that I left off on a moment ago, and then I'll get to the super chats that I see are coming in. And I really appreciate your support. Really means so much. And just want to finish this thought though, because I mentioned something and perhaps some of you want more context on it. And it has to do with Hollywood and predictive programming and just programming your subconscious in general. It's like MK Ultra, you know? Like if you are watching content all day, you have been MK Ultra. And it's important we talk about this because everything in this reality comes back to the relationship you have with what it is that you consume or what you create. Not one is better than the other because we need one to have the other. So when we talk about consumers here, that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad person because everything's about balance. If you see yourself being overly consumptive and not giving away any creative, input or essence into this world, then consider doing so because that risk brings your reward. You cannot be rewarded solely through consumption. But what you can do through consumption is transmute. I want everything you consume, you be the alchemist. Transmute that energy into something useful, right? So look at it like there's rain, there's a seed, there's the sun, there's the mother nature, the ground, the soil, etc. And you're the farmer. You're taking these little bits and pieces and you're working with the elements, you're working with mother nature to create. Now, of course, you're not creating it all, but without you and your actions, well, it wouldn't have facilitated that outcome. You look at it just like you would with creating a business, creating a relationship, having a child, whatever you do. It's just the cycles of life, cycles of nature. Be very weary about the way you consume content right now, guys, because across the board, nobody's feeling positive about the future. It's pretty obvious. Most people are not feeling so good about next year, the year after that, and so on. And just remind yourselves that that's what the New World Order wants you to feel. They want you to feel uneasy. They want you to feel scared. They want you to feel worried. They want you to feel like this is all fucked and we're going to shit. But I'm here to remind you right now that you must be the light that shines through the darkness. Everything in this world is perfect. It takes wisdom to realize that. You have to unlock the gnosis within you. I do not have the truth for you. No one has your truth for you except for you. And when you align with whatever that truth is, you start to live again and you are no longer dead. But right now we're in a zombie apocalypse that is consuming a lot more than it creates. And a lot of the creation that's being given to this world right now is purely for monetary gain and not for the spiritual bank account that exists. Because there's a lot more currencies out there than just dollars. And this is where honor comes in. Honor is very important in this whole picture. Support what you know is feeding your higher self. And stop supporting the things that you know are making you decay faster. And we'll call those distractions. Now, I know I laid a lot out there for you right now, but let's make it simple. There's nothing wrong with watching Netflix. There's nothing wrong with watching Hollywood movies. Just develop a better relationship with what it is that you consume. Be playful about all the predictive programming that they're putting in front of our face. Laugh about it. Have fun. But be honest with yourself. You know the direction things are going. I just don't want you to become Medusa'd by it. You're not going to let this shit turn you to stone. Sure, it will turn many other people into stone, but don't let it do that to you. If anything, let it inspire you. That's how I am. Everything that I see that is a problem or bad or evil or whatever the fuck, I just honorably respond instead of emotionally react. And that switch changes everything. It makes it have prana. It makes it have life force. It makes it have electricity. It adds light to a dark room. So whenever you come here and you hear any doom and gloom talk or any of that, just realize that we're being honest, but we're not going to let this shit slow us down. You have a mission. You have this inner voice called your intuition, and it is talking to you all the time. Very few get to hear that voice. Most people go their whole life and they never, ever get to hear that voice. And you want to know why? Because they're in an endless cycle of consuming, and they don't have the ability to have a relationship with what they're consuming. If anything, the relationship they have is what we would call a toxic relationship. It's not give and take. It's not a dance. It's a sword fight, and there's always a loser. And like we always say here, competition is for losers. There's nothing to compete against here in this matrix except for your own mind. And your mind isn't where the wisdom is. The wisdom is unlocked from your heart. And it's impossible to access your heart if you're living in fear and you're worried and you're thinking that the future sucks and that nothing good is to come. Because reminder, that is what the elite want you to think. That is what they want you to feel. So, we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, I'm sure. Usually we hang out for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see how long we could go today. Welcome if you're new here. It's beautiful to have so many like-minded conscious individuals here. I just want to say I'm grateful, really grateful to be connected with so many amazing people. And that's why I think things like the internet and YouTube and this microphone and my Wi-Fi connection and all of these things that could be isolated and considered evil. But remember, is it a weapon or is it a tool? It's the relationship you have with these things. Nick Hayer, Waters, sending much love from Vancouver, Canada. Shout out to Vancouver. You said, do you have any thoughts about Dr. Shiva for president? I don't know too much about Dr. Shiva. I remember like during the C19 years, he got pretty popular because of allegedly being the guy who like invented email or something like that. I think I'm talking about the right guy. I could be wrong. I haven't kept up with him. And it seems that he has a lot to say, that probably is parallel to some of the things that I've shared, such as the delivery of truth about the thing called Zionism. I believe he's probably said a couple things about that. I'm not 100% sure his stance, but I've been shared quotes and little clips, but I haven't personally gone out of my way to look too deep into his work. But you finished this off with saying for president. And let me be very, very clear here. I don't need a president. And neither do you. You're a sovereign being. You don't need politicians who work for the government. Government. Governare mente. Mind control. I'd avoid it at all costs. I don't need a president. I'm my own leader, and so are you. If we really want to expand and we really want to make change in this realm, in this physical simulacrum, we're going to have to give up on this whole wanting to have a daddy. I know this is tough for some people. It's very triggering, but I'm calm. I'm just delivering to you the words that very few want to say or even have the access to thinking about. Because when you try to look at one person as better than the other, but the role of those two people is about keeping you subordinate and unable to access what we could be calling divine rights, I don't know. Like if you don't want to hear somebody tell you that you don't need a president, then maybe this isn't the space for you guys, you know? I'm not speaking directly to Nick or speaking directly at anyone right now. It's just politics is designed the way that it's designed to keep you in a servant class, to keep you a slave. Are you here to be a slave? Now, are you here to be a master? I don't necessarily know if that's the most ideal. When one masters their mind, then they can't be a slave anymore. And they start to trust and believe in themselves, and they don't need to have a leader anymore. They don't need to have a politician or a president anymore. So I'm not really concerned about what Dr. Shiva wants out of his agenda to become the president because it's all rigged. It's all a scam. You're under the institution called government, which means mind control. And there's no such thing as good guys under the corporation of something that calls itself mind control. Here, I'm about freeing the mind, not controlling the mind. And in order to realize your mind was in control, you have to access your heart. And very few do. So many throw the word love around dangerously. Think about that. Wow, so many wolves hanging out with us from Canada. I'm grateful to connect with y'all. Oh, snap. We got Australia in the house. Beautiful. Welcome, welcome. I got a super chat from Breathe in Air, sending you lots of love. I think also to Australia. Appreciate you. You said, what is the role slash responsibility of good parenting? Well, Breathe in Air, I have to be 100% vulnerable with you and let you know that I am not a parent. So I am not the person to ask. But I was parented. And I think that's important for you all to check in with, right? Like, you don't need to do heroin to know that it probably fucks you up, right? I'm not here to say that I know better than somebody who's a real parent, though. So you see where I'm coming from? So I can't tell you the experience of being a parent because I am not. Um, but one thing that I can say, and this isn't me trying to put myself on a pedestal or anything because you just heard it from me seconds ago. I am not the one to ask about that, but I could provide you with some utility in the sense of what it's like to be a leader, right? Now, my father, and I've been very vulnerable about this since I started here doing this waters above thing with the world. My father was a drug addict who was not a leader. He was in and out of jail pretty much my entire time knowing him. And he's been out of my life for about probably 90% of my life. So I grew up without a father figure, you know, but I'm really grateful for my mom for supporting all of those missing pieces that he would have provided. So my mom's fucking amazing, really incredible person. For her to step into that polarity when needed to take care of what needed to be done. Really, really grateful for that. So, being parented or partially parented, and I think a lot of people resonate with this, like most of the time, the people who are quote unquote parenting you are not leading you. They're not setting you up. And please stay with me here, okay? Because you heard what I just said moments ago about a president and about leaders, all right? So we're going to stay super consistent here. Okay. As a child, when you are led by honorable parents, then you grow up to actually want to work with community. You actually care for the things and the people and the stuff and the culture and all the things that are happening in your little ecosystem, right? What Zionism is all about, which is what most of the world is under, believe it or not. You call it a democracy, you call it this, you call it it's all irrelevant. Everyone is under this mind parasite called Zionism. And if it's too spicy in the room right now, it's okay. Like we're turning up the sauna to very, very hot. We need to. Okay? You with me? Good. You could jump in the cold plunge whenever you need a cool off. I'll be right there with you. All right? We're in this together. But getting back, Zionism's agenda is to remove the role of the leadership within the household so that the children are indoctrinated by the state, so that the children worship the state more than they worship their own parents. So this is why the need of a president and the need of this theatrics in politics is it's why it's needed, because the people, like they say in the final Matrix movie, they said the people love their blue pill. The masses love the blue pill. They don't have the access to this bandwidth of consciousness to allow truth in. So they need somebody to set the truth for them. Most people in this world, getting back to your super chat, most people in this world are not being led by their mother and father. They're being led by Zionism through the indoctrination camps called public schooling, churches, politicians, banksters, higher education called colleges and universities, the workforce. I could keep going. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of those things that I listed, but we are being programmed into thinking that those are milestones when they're stepping stones. Okay? A job is a stepping stone, it's not an accomplishment. We are no longer learning from our parents, we're learning from YouTube and TikTok. I heard this recently and it kind of broke my heart. Somebody said a young man doesn't learn how to shave from his father anymore. He learns how to shave from a YouTube video. And I thought to myself, holy shit. And I was born way before the invention of YouTube, but I still didn't have a father to teach me how to shave. So it really hit my heart, to think about how many layers of separation from the quote unquote concept of good parenting this reality is faced with today as we speak. Feel the words that I'm saying right now. If I can summarize what I believe intuitively is the best role or responsibility of good parenting, it's avoid teaching your kids the stuff that's being programmed into them by the system. And that goes for everything that we've talked about today. Now, I know that it's not practical for everyone to homeschool. I know it's not practical for every meal your children eats to come from your kitchen. I know this. But maybe set up the mind of the child to at least be intuitive. So it's not just going along with whatever's popular or whatever's accepted. Now, if you can build in this antivirus software into your children, then your children will be successful. See, some of us are lucky. We were born with antivirus software. If you're listening to this right now, you were born with antivirus software. How do I know this? Because the average person wouldn't make it a minute here. Now, I'm not saying it's because I have the truth or I'm right or I have some fucking answer. No, it's not. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. It's just when I speak from the heart and I channel this stream of consciousness to the average person, it's like the sunlight going directly into your eyes. You can only look at it for so long. But you guys are okay at staring at the sun for a lot longer than the average person. It's an analogy. You're sun gazers. You could allow in the uncomfortable data Yeah. I know many of you resonate with this. So just if you can, stop teaching your kids and let your kids teach you. They are pure. They have access to a higher self. You had to find higher self because we were so programmed by the code of this matrix. But if you just consider what I'm saying, any of you out there, you have a 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, maybe four, five, six, perhaps. There's so many opportunities that you could have allowed your children to teach you. Bro, they have instant connection to the all, to the akashic, to whatever you want to call it. They're plugged into source. You're plugged into the matrix. They're seeing shit that you can't see in the room. They're like cats. You ever see a cat in a room? It's like looking at the walls and shit. It's seeing frequencies and dimensions that your eyes can't. And it's good that you can't see it because if you would, it would be horrifying. You know how many people, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I know this is like stuff that I always want to talk about, and it's tough to find the time to talk about it. But remember, like a bunch of live streams ago, we've talked about the idea of giants and the idea of things like all the scary stuff you see in movies, like Stranger Things, where they have like the upside down world. Don't you notice it's the kids that can see it? Did I just blow your mind? Bro, it's the kids that have access to it. And you notice how the kids are so comfortable, like with the fucking knowing of this crazy realm that you don't have access to? Pretty fucking amazing, man. You notice that Hopper and Joyce and like a couple of these characters that are older, they trust the kids. They're letting the kids finally teach them instead of the other way around. And that's why they're excellent as leaders. Of course, they have their mishaps and their downfalls. Of course, like I'm not trying to tell you to treat Stranger Things as a guidebook or manual to being a mother or father by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just reminding you that the children are more aware and more pure and have access to the all, and you've been brainwashed by Zionism. So the only thing that I would say is allow your children, allow them. Don't dominate over them. Of course, use that force wisely, and they will be more vulnerable with you. They will teach you more than you could ever teach them. And in life lessons or the things we call street smarts, just be tasteful about it. Because a lot of the time you want to just do what your parents did to you. You just are handing over the baton of generational trauma. It's time to end that vicious cycle. And I believe what I've just covered a moment ago is a start. Much love over to Scotland. All right. Gary from Ireland in the house. Beautiful, beautiful. Adam Arias. Appreciate you, brother. Hope you're having an amazing weekend. Just looking through some of the chat right now. Manuel over in Spain. That's amazing. I love Spain. It's a beautiful country. But I have not fully traveled Spain, although I have been to a handful of places. I got a super chat from It's All an Illusion. Ah, no. No, 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 no. You said all of my problems in life are due to the SEC. Thanks for all you do, brother. Oh man. I want to grab your head right now and like bump pineal glands, just like forehead to forehead, and be like, it's not the SEC. All of the problems in our lives are because we create them. You can decide to point the finger, to put blame onto something, right? But you want to know something interesting? It's all an illusion. And I know this is going to be very, very tough, but we have to go there. Imagine the SEC lawsuit never happened to Ripple, big but the price was the same as it is today. Okay, just imagine the price is the same as it is today with the SEC case, whatever, 50 something cents. But then I want you to just delete the history between the SEC Ripple situation. So we're removing the SEC, and all we have is XRP's price action. Now, don't you realize that the SEC is the only exciting thing about Ripple and XRP? Besides me, of course. Like, I know this is like the biggest clear pill I've ever had to like hand out, but it's like the only thing that even gives life to what Ripple and the SEC and XRP, excuse me, is the SEC case. Let's be honest. Like, I don't want to sound like an asshole right now, but like, there's people out there that are lawyers, attorneys that have YouTube channels that would have not even existed if it wasn't for this SEC case. Who's this one guy, like Jeremy something? Like, I'm not trying to throw shade at this man. He's serving his purpose. But it's like this man wouldn't have ever been a guy if it wasn't for this SEC lawsuit. Oh man, I know so many people are like, fuck this dude. It gave people jobs. It gave people something. It was popcorn during the movie. I need to like. This is bad. This is rough. This is rough. I should have saved this for talking to the Bearable Bull. I think he would have loved this. Shout out to him, by the way. Which, by the way, he's a real one. Like I've seen people try to throw hate at this man. Like Bearable Bull is one of the few who will call me and just check in, be like, "How are you doing, bro?" Like he's a solid fucking human. He's a good man. If only, like I mean, XRP is what it is. All right? I get it. But all your problems are not because of the SEC and Gary Gensler and the legal system or whatever. Bro, it gave you something to actually focus on. It gave you something. It was popcorn during the movie. Like at the boring parts, you at least get to stuff your face with some popcorn. It's buttery, it's salty, it kind of feeds all those acidic parts of you. Bro, you should be thanking the SEC. You know, one of my favorite lyrics from Kendrick Lamar, he says, "Most blame it on the devil when they fall short. I blame it on my ego, Lord of all lords." Fucking firebar. When he said that, I knew that he knew. I knew that he knew. See, guys, you have to be grateful for the pain because the pain leaves when it's done teaching you. Don't forget that. That's what I'm saying. Dustin, if you're reading the screen right now, that is what I am saying. XRP Sus says, why is the majority of the world history hidden or suppressed? It's because it's his story. It's missing. It's missing the other polarity. What's her story? What's the other side of the story? It's not that anything is hidden. Everything is quote unquote hidden in plain sight. You just need the eye to see. And when you have access to that eye and you're no longer being corrupted by the eyes on the sides that lie, then you will have access to everything. Got a super chat from Axel Fuentes. That's a cool name, by the way. If that's your real name, if you were born with the name Axel Fuentes, you sound like a superhero, you know? Anyways, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your super chat. You said, what's your view on the David Goggins mindset for a normal day-to-day person? Okay. Let's take this slowly. I am not one to I just don't like talking to someone that talking about someone that I don't know or that I'm not in the same room with or at least have access to in conversation. Like, I don't know David. I at least am aware that David probably has his own trauma that he's been able to transmute and turn into this thing, this archetype, this character you call David Goggins. He made a character. That's all he did. He designed it. At one point, he wasn't that. It's kind of reminiscent of the, what's his name? The Iceman. I forgot. Wim Hof. Okay, it's very similar to Wim Hof. Like, a lot of people like, "Oh, he's so amazing. He does all this amazing." Sure, but let's remind ourselves that what made Wim Hof was losing his wife. You guys saw the same thing happen in the Matrix movie with Neo and Trinity. When Neo loses Trinity, he becomes like the no fucks to give type energy. He has nothing to lose. I'm sorry to sound abrasive, but it's just the truth. See, when we lose the thing that matters most, in some cases, there's a beast that's hidden within all of us that will come out, and that beast is actionable. Now, the question is that beast honorable? That's what we have to be careful with. Now, I'm not trying to say that Wim Hof is not honorable. I'm not trying to say that David Goggins is not honorable because, again, I don't know Wim and I don't know David. And I believe in myself enough to the point where waters above will get the opportunity to interact with such peoples. I would love to hear their story. I would love to talk with them about where I'm at in my journey and see where they're at in theirs, you know? But now let's get back to what you guys usually hear and what you guys usually see, which is an aggressive man yelling into the camera, telling you that you're a pussy and that you need to get your shit together. And that if you want to keep being a fat turd, life's never going to work out for you, right? That's usually what you're like, a drill sergeant. Now, here's the thing, Axel. Some people like a drill sergeant. They resonate with that. They want some guy to fucking bully them all day. This is very popular in the red pill space. It's a big reason why I've like almost wanted to remove that concept from my work because it's become so corrupted by unconscious materialists, you know, no offense. But I hear this a lot, like in the realm of red pill dating stuff also. It's like this being coached by a drill sergeant thing is something that's very attractive to certain people. Like, some people want a guy screaming at them with like veins popping out of their head for them to become actionable. It's very inspiring for some people. Now, on the other hand, some people resonate with the way of my delivery, which I'm like, Yoda, you know? But the thing is that you can be a brute, but what's a brute to Yoda? Homie just does a couple backflips and still fucks you up calmly. Because when you navigate this realm calmly, you could be a lot more clear in what's happening. You welcome the cycles of nature and you're much more in tune with all things. Aggression only gets you so far, but there's a time where aggression is needed, right? There's a time where tapping into the fight or flight is needed. I just wouldn't personally get too caught up in making that my day to day state. Okay, Axel? I'd be very, very cautious about putting myself in fight or flight mode from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to sleep, because I think that's the antithesis of the concept of longevity. If you want to live longer, you can't be in stress all the time. You can't be thinking that you need to be motivated for every action you take. And I think that's what happens to the people that are attracted to that type of coaching. They just want to hear a drill sergeant all day screaming in their ear, telling them to be better. One more rep, one more rep. People like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because that's that person's code. Just like a turtle has their code and, a wolf has their code. Some animals are, there's a cheetah and there's a tortoise. Like there's physical limitations also to being able to do what you do. But please, please listen to me. What's missing is the force. And that's why that Yoda comparison is so powerful. Because when you learn about what the force is, shit changes, completely changes. And you don't need to get so caught up in the polarity anymore. Because you realize that there's a spiritual, etheric essence here with you at all times. And you can feed off of that too. And that's what makes me the most passionate. That's my thing that I connect with most. Jay Fight Master, that's amazing. Appreciate you. Ads says, could celebrities fake their deaths due to rituals, and what would be the point? Well, of course, because remember, a celebrity is just an avatar of the identity, okay? You don't know who those people are. Like, you don't know who Donald Trump is. He's a celebrity, okay? So his purpose is to do what a celebrity does, which is be influential as part of an overall math equation to create balance in this system we call reality. But remember, the New World Order is winning the game when they make one of you choose to be the plus sign or the negative sign. It's like you be proton or be electron, but you forget that there's the neutron. My path is to be it all, okay? But what I mean here is when you pick the plus sign or the negative sign, that's you going with Republican or Democrat. You opt out to the neutrality and you've already lost. So the wisdom here in all of this is that a celebrity was designed before it even was shown to you. Okay? For instance, Kanye West or Kim Kardashian or Diddy or Dave Chappelle or any of these people, they signed contracts before they were even known, before anyone even knew them. They signed contracts, and all contracts have a fine print. All contracts have a time horizon, okay? Like you guys might know about football or soccer, those Europeans out there. You sign the contract and you earn a certain amount of money over a certain amount of time. And then the contract gets renewed depending on how you performed. It's no different with celebrities. When you are somebody who's a it happens with musicians all the time, for instance. When you are a musician, you sign a contract with a record label, and then you have to create a certain amount of art by a certain deadline, and if you haven't, met your contractual agreement, well, then there'll be a discrepancy in there, and then you won't get paid. So you're basically signing a slave contract, and you don't even know you're doing it. Well, it's the same thing with celebrities. And a lot of people think, well, they get rich and famous, and isn't that a gift? And no, there's no gift. You know what's a gift is being able to earn enough money to take care of yourself and your people anonymously. The celebrity needs the avatar, and the avatar has the thing we call death. Think about that. The Zen of Gavin says, isn't 2025 supposed to be the year of the veil is lifted? And today we're seeing the beginning of that with Hollywood. Remember, everything is scripted. They wanted you to be obsessed with the thing called celebrity or Hollywood or famous actors, but it was all momentary. There's a bigger script running this. But all they're doing is shifting that over into another type of entertainer. This is why you're seeing the really famous people. Please, I want everyone go super slow with me. Don't even read the screen right now. I just want you to think, okay? Why is it that what's that Paul brother? Is it Logan Paul or the other one? It doesn't matter. Why is he boxing Mike Tyson? Why is it that these people like I Show Speed and Kai, whatever his name is, and Logan Paul and his brother Jake Paul, I think that's his name, and Mr. Beast and all of these people, why do you think they get the platform they get? Haven't you thought about this? It's because they're just handing over the baton from things like Lady Gaga and Beyonce and Jay-Z. They're just handing it over to Mr. Beast. They're handing it over to I Show Speed. They're handing it over to Jake Paul and Logan Paul. They know that they need to keep up with what will keep the younger generation indoctrinated. That's the only thing that fucking matters to the New World Order. So you're saying that the veil is lifted and we're beginning to see this and that with Hollywood. It's Hollywood was temporary, bro. It's called Hollywood, wood from the holly tree. It's magic. All magic tricks are scripted. They're staged. They have a beginning, middle, and end. Okay, really good really good magicians can put on a show that's 2 or 3 hours long. And that's great that they do. That's their skill. That's their purpose. Their purpose is here to distract you all. But all they're doing is taking your attention from being distracted by movie stars and putting it onto YouTube influencers, people who are streamers. That's who gets all the prana right now. And I know I'm live streaming right now, and I could very well say that I'm part of the problem. And if you think that, then fine, I'm okay. That doesn't concern me. All right. But I'm not going to be this guy saying that I'm the one that's causing the veil to be lifted. That's on you. And I think what I just said a second ago probably adds up to a lot more logical outcome than this idea of thinking that this veil, quote unquote, being lifted is being done in one place and it's done for all. Because I'm here to tell you that it's not over. The New World Order is so fucking good at playing chess. They make Bobby Fischer look like an amateur. And this way of looking at reality, no offense, Gavin, it's kind of like a level 2 or 3 chess player. We're talking about shooting a water gun at a fucking dragon who breathes fire. They have it all planned out. I'm just really good at seeing it and avoiding it and being playful with it. It's fun to me. Make it fun to you. Hmm. Rob Smith, you said here in Denmark. We've been told to prep. Please let me know more. I would love to know. I was. Oof. Okay. Cool. Tell me more. Got a super from John A. Sending you lots of love. Maybe over to UK somewhere. Maybe over in England. Anyways, much love. I appreciate you. You said, as a man, how do you have a healthy relationship with sexual desires? In college, I slept around a lot. It was fun, but it left me feeling empty. How do I embrace natural urges without shame, yet not suppress them either? Yeah, I could totally sense that this is a very modern problem in a lot of ways, especially with porn addiction. And also, there's been some movements out there, such as NoFap or semen retention, and all of which are, instruments in the progress and development of where you are with your with your relationship with sex and sexuality. We're all grown-ups here, so we can talk about these things. And I have to be super honest with it all and just let you know that vulnerability is usually the solution. So that means you need to be vulnerable with someone who has deep meaning to you, preferably somebody who you would want to be with, somebody who you'd plan to be sexual with. So, like your next partner, John, I just want, or if you currently have a partner, if you have a girlfriend, wife, whatever's going on, please just exercise vulnerability with them, because then if you can just get it all out with them, then you won't be seeking it in other places. But it requires you to not have the shame to be vulnerable. See, the problem is not the you feeling empty or whatever, you know? And we could call it natural urges or unnatural urges. Like all of that's just language. But I want you to be more intuitive and feel into it more. And it's tough for you to be fully you, to embrace who you are and what you are about on all levels if you're hiding from your partners. Because when you hide, then you can't blame them for not being quote unquote perfect for you, or whatever you want to consider as the ideal match, right? You're here to match with the person, and clearly sex plays a big role in your reality, and there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, we were all created because two people had sex. So just consider that one ingredient and how powerful that ingredient is. It's like a meal with no salt, okay? The vulnerability is the salt. It's time to bring out all the flavors of everything else that's being cooked up here, okay? But maybe it's time to try this, because it sounds like when somebody who comes to me with this predicament, it's usually because they have never been vulnerable with anyone. They've just been partial, and they found little things that they like in people, and it's always different stuff. And then it makes selecting very tough, right? Your choices here and your consequences and the cause and effect of all things that you're a part of, they're always that tug of war, but your intuition is always there in the center. And your intuition is trying to get you to tap into the neutrality of it all. And it's tough when you're being polarized, right? So let the duality teach you to feel, not avoid. So True Root said, "Your words make me happy." Well, for a lot of people, it makes them sad. So I'm grateful that you. I'm grateful that you've joined us. Alexander Michael Earl says, "What's up, Wolves? Taking a break from the chaos in Asheville. Love to hear Water Stream of Consciousness and Sauna Time." Alexander, are you out there in Asheville? And if you are, or you know anyone out there, I really hope that everything has been. I hope there's some progress. I've unfortunately heard that there's very little, and I've been hearing heartbreaking stories about people who are able to go into that area to help in whatever capacity they can, and they've been denied. Um, This is clearly a ritual by the New World Order. And some people hate when I use this word ritual, or they think I'm using it loosely, but like, come on, bro. I'm not speaking to you, Alex. I mean, in general. In this situation where you have this catastrophe and people who have access to helicopters or just anything, trucks with four-wheel drive and supplies and water and perhaps plumber skills at plumbing or anything, just anybody that's willing to help, and they're not allowed or they're going to be arrested. I mean, if you're mad at me calling that a ritual, then go fuck yourself, you know? Like, I mean, sorry. What people in Asheville and some other surrounding areas are going through right now, like, come on. There's people that survived this Hurricane Helene, but they died because they were not allowed access to help that wanted to help them. That's a fucking ritual. Something like this happened in Maui, happened during Hurricane Katrina. It happens a lot, all right? This is clearly scripted, and if anyone, listen carefully, tries to get in the way of the script writers, we could call them scribes, then there will be a penalty, there will be a fine, there will be something that blocks that individual from the script playing out exactly as they like, line by line by line. And if it triggers you that I'm saying this, then who's the one that's on Team Humanity? And I am not throwing out the word ritual loosely. I just see it for what it is. And I really hope, and it almost sucks to use only words because that's all I'm limited to, but it really sucks to hear about these stories of how many people that want to help and they just can't, right? And this is, I don't want to ruin anyone's days, but this is the start. There will be a lot more of this shit happening. And you know what it will take for it to stop? If people stop complying. Because when you allow these things to get in the way of what your heart wants, you're going against God. If everyone that could help just said fuck it and did it in harmony, there's nothing the New World Order could do about that. And I hope someday we tap into that courage, we tap into that feeling state where we're no longer worried about the consequences of what's on the other side of that. Now, I'm not telling anyone right now to be breaking the law. Don't twist my words into that. But remind yourself that laws are only laws because the society allows them. Under whatever constitution or system you have in your legislation, ultimately, the only way a law is because the people allow it. And it requires a complete shift in consciousness and awareness for those very draconian measures to no longer be applicable or valid. It's on us. This comment here about crypto pumping or dumping whoever wins the election, we already did this last time. I made a video showing you the results of 2016, the results of 2020, and how the market did identical things with a Trump win or a Biden win. And the volatility around the election days was nearly identical for the crypto market. It had no effect at all because it doesn't have an effect at all. What affects the markets is gematria, numerology, and astrology. That's what matters. It's the fact that we're just past the final solar eclipse of our solar cycle, and we have this final expansion energy until March lunar eclipse, not who wins the presidency. If you're just waking up to this, beautiful. It's amazing that you're starting to align with this idea that I'm calling esoteric investing. But if you're believing that the exoteric is what's ruling these markets, then yeah, maybe this isn't, again, the channel for you. Like, there is energetics that are running this, that are what puts the ink in the pen of what gets to write the script. Probably the hardest bar I've ever said. Like, gematria, numerology, and astrology are the ink that the quill gets dipped into. Adam, appreciate you. Sending lots of love. Hope you're having a beautiful weekend. But I don't see any question or anything, so I'll be on the lookout. Just kind of a blank super. Kate Bishop asks about telekinesis. We were talking a moment before about Stranger Things, and it's funny because I'm working on my Trinity masterclass, and it's been very helpful rewatching some of the Stranger Things saga, because there's a lot of things in there that I think are kind of Easter eggs into how our realm and how this experience works, not only um, in the now moment, but beyond time itself, and the merger of realities and many, many other theoretical concepts. So I'm working on that Trinity masterclass. I'm hoping to have it available by next month. But needless to say, you all know Elle in the show. Her name is L1111. So the show clearly cares about numerology because it's numbering all of those powerful kids. And I don't know how many of them they are. Initially, it seems like there's only like 12, but then later in the show, I don't remember what season it is, the Dr. Brenner guy says 17, and then he like calls on one of the younger kids. So it's like you can see that beyond L, they just kept this program going. And then the show points out the concept of MK Ultra and all of this. And it's like they want you to go down that rabbit hole so you don't go, right? It's a look here, don't look there. Same as flat Earth. Not that it's wrong or not that it's not real. It's just, again, it's like there's layers to this. There's many dolls within the Russian doll. So hope that makes sense. But Elle, one of the main characters, and many of the other, I think almost all of the children have telekinetic abilities. I think that it is possible, but very few examples of it exist. Although I have seen some crazy videos, and one of them is even available on YouTube. Now, this isn't telekinesis, but it's just a power that I know that we have access to, and it's been proven that we have access to it. And it's this guy, he's like some Shaolin master or something, and he's taking a bunch of newspapers in his hand, and he just lights it on fire. Like he turns it into a fireball. So he's accessing this prana, this chi energy, and he's able to take even a bundle of papers on the floor. He's just hovering his hand over it, and he's able to ignite it into flames. Absolutely wild video to watch. And then there's this other video. I don't know if it's the same guy or if it's somebody else, but he is being followed and sort of documented. And then it hits a point in the documentary where they like stop because the guy who's able to do these things, he gets very emotional, and he says, he like admits to the guy who's the documentary, the producer, director, whatever. He admits to him, like, it was so beautiful, bro. Like, makes me emotional to think about it. The guy says, like, the reason I couldn't do this anymore for you, like in that moment, is because I wanted to prove that I can do it. And he said, because I went into my ego, I knew that I messed up. And it was so cool how, like, he literally just quietly like walked away and was like disappointed in himself. This dude was like 70 years old, right? Like master, never on film before, not going around like making YouTube videos, showing you tutorials, like none of this shit. Like he's just some random dude who has access to this power. And he like walks away and he says, I realized that in that moment, because you were filming and because everyone wants to see that I could do this, I like became egoic, and then I knew that that was wrong. So like misabusing your power. You know what I mean? And the funny thing about Stranger Things is it's all abuse of power. All of these kids and all of the shit that's going on, like it's all abuse of power. And the only example that you have of not necessarily abusing that power is with Elle. Again, we're talking about the show Stranger Things. And she even abuses those powers most of the time. Like if you were to calculate how many times her nose bleeds, bro, she's always abusing the I mean, it's very few examples where it's used honorably. And now they're also piggybacking on the idea that she's saving the world. Now I'm building this all up for a reason, okay? So sure, Elle saves the world from the dark forces, whatever, right? That's what they want you to think. But another thing they're showing you here is that we can't get the powers, because if we had them, we would fuck it all up. Like if we became the X-Men, we would destroy this whole world. We are not wise like that man was when he walked away from the set and admitted that I used my power for my ego and proving myself, and I knew I wasn't being honorable in that moment. That's the fucking man. That's the man who you give the powers to. Now I want you to all close your eyes and imagine your next door neighbor having telekinesis. Yeah. The world will immediately turn to a bunch of monkeys throwing shit at each other. You would all fuck this matrix up. So you think that the matrix is evil and bad because of Jeffrey Epstein and like all this stuff that's going, bro, the matrix is the matrix because we don't have the superpowers. They don't either. You guys know there's a show that teaches you about this, about the last time that regular quote unquote people had the superpowers. The show is called Lovecraft Country. It tells you everything you need to know about the indoctrination of the Aborigine. So some of you might be wondering, why did we go through all that thing called racism and segregation and slavery and this, that, and the third? Well, a lot of people never teach you that white people were enslaved just as much, and now that's very triggering for some people, but facts are facts. So what was the agenda really with the Aborigine? And I'm not just talking about people in America, I'm talking about all Aborigine. What was the agenda? It's to take their magic away from them, because they had an honor system with Mother Nature. And if you honor Mother Nature, it's impossible for you to not honor your fellow man. It's impossible because you realize that we're all an extension of the same source. Now, some people are going to be like, well, the Cherokee and the Seminole and these guys were fighting wars against each other. Yeah, I'm talking about way before that, bro. Way before we even knew how to make a bow and arrow. Way before we even ate food. You get all the stories in your mythology and in your Abrahamic religions. You know the book they take out of the Bible? The Book of Enoch? It tells you all about what I'm saying right now. They taught man how to make weapons, how to be warriors. When you become a warrior, you become a soldier. You become a soul dyer, a soul killer. How could you say that you have a relationship with your fellow man when you believe that you can dominate your fellow man through the act of war? How could you even consciously get to that level? Well, you would have had to have something parasite your purity. So I know I laid a lot out for you guys just there, but those are my thoughts on telekinesis. I am grateful that none of you have telekinesis. Seriously, I'm dead ass right now. I am grateful that none of you have telekinesis. Bro, you should be scared to have artificial intelligence, all of you. You know how many people have already abused that? Just get ready when they have robots walking amongst you. Watch the fast decay of the human spirit. And you think that these people here can have any of these superpowers? No, because none of them are wise like that old man who, I don't even like calling him old man, like that man who walked off that camera set ashamed of himself because he knew that he abused his power. And that was just on a fucking little example. You all know right now, if we gave people the power of telekinesis, they would start throwing, they would go to their ex-girlfriend's house and do something stupid. They would kill somebody's dog. They would do the most retarded shit. Sorry to use that word, but that's really what we would just be animals. We'd be beasts. You ever see the movie Lucy? That's exactly what we would be. We would be Lucy. There's a reason they call her Lucy, Lucifer, right? No one here is likely honorable enough to manage having that power. And that includes me. I know I'm not perfect. I know there would be moments where I would abuse it too. I'm a real one. The Matrix is the way that it is because it needs to be the way that it is. If we want any order at all, no, there's no room for L. Remember, guys, who opens up? Who opens up the portal to that world? It's L. You would all be horrible with any superpowers. So that's my thoughts on telekinesis. Lead into gold. Great question. Funny that you have the Bobby Fischer. I believe that's the Bobby Fischer. Yeah, it is. Amazing. You said I'm asking for some words of wisdom here. I'm constantly at work thinking negatively, being jealous, and this competitiveness nature is making me depressed. It stems from my alcoholic dad. Well, first of all, like, fucking amazing how vulnerable you're being. So I honor that a lot, and that really is beautiful that you're able to even share this, like, think back into your profile picture, this Bobby Fischer character. In order to be a master of chess, you need to think so many layers ahead. And clearly you're already thinking to the past, and you see the technology here. You see how one thing leads to the next, and with what you're working with today. And you have the consciousness to say that you're the problem, right? You're constantly at work thinking negatively. You're putting it on you. I love that because you have self-awareness. You're saying that you're jealous and this competitive nature is making you depressed. And that's really the thing. When your awareness is bringing something into the focal point, it's usually ugly. Like, the truth sucks, but the truth sets you free, right? We've all heard that. But don't you think you've answered this already? Like, you've answered your own question by even typing it out and sending it to me. That's what manifestation is. You've shared. Now execute. You don't need my opinion. You're the one that had the answer all along. You know what you got to do. I want to end it with something else that's powerful. Your name is lead into gold. How about we change the way we're pronouncing lead and say lead? So you can lead into G, or you can lead or be led into old. I'll say it again. You can lead into G, into gnosis, into God, into Genesis, or you can be led into old, into decay, into death. This word, this term, led into gold, has like a quadruple entendre hidden within it. I would love to talk to King Los because I'm sure me and him could riff about a lot of this with the etymology. You know what you got to do, brother. You know what it is. Okay? Here's the thing. The other G, the other powerful word that starts with G is gratitude. Yeah, you have this alcoholic dad, but you know what you learned is what not to be. Through all the things that don't resonate with you, there's also an opportunity to alchemize. That's what lead into gold is, right? It's time to be the alchemist. You had this childhood, you had this lack of leadership, and you know the reason it was there. It's time to be grateful for it because it showed you what not to be. In order to be great, you need to observe the lack of greatness and embody the opposite. Appreciate you. Sending lots of love. True challenge proof. Appreciate you. Appreciate the super chat. Sending you lots of love. SFB says, love you, brother, from Pakistan. Shout out to Pakistan. One of the most important human beings in my life was Pakistani. And probably the closest thing to a father I ever had. His name was Syed. He's a beautiful man. I worked with him. I think my first real job that I had. And the one thing I really loved about him is because he was Muslim, but he never pushed anything on me. But he would always hit me with inspiring quotes that he would get from Muhammad, right? He would always hit me with those beautiful quotes. And he would always be like playful when he delivered it to me because he knew that I was open minded and I was always willing to accept wisdom no matter where it came from. Right. And, funny, like crazy story. He is the only person that when he died, I like violently cried. When you cry so hard that like your stomach hurts? He's the only person that's ever happened with. And now later, now that I'm more connected with the spiritual side of things, like I felt like I like lost a limb or something, you know? Like I felt like he was coded into my life to be like the polish of the gemstones on the crown, you know? Like some deep fucking shit. I think we're all coded into meeting everyone we meet. I think the power of the code with the player characters in this matrix might be more powerful with people that are outside of your family. But I know, let's be very careful with that way of thinking, okay? That's not for everyone. Like what I just said cannot be said to the average person. We need right now the average person to reconnect with their families, like for real. But I'm talking about there's a lot of you out there, right? A lot of you who are conscious beings, you know where I'm coming from. You know of the damage done by Zionism, but outside of that, you've still experienced loss. Like I'm a human. I just admitted that I fucking cried so hard when this man died. He meant so much to me, and he wasn't even my dad, but he meant so much to me. Now I'm realizing, like, yo, he was a part of me, right? Like, more than my dad needed to be. He was my Yoda at that moment. And sometimes Luke turns into Yoda, and that's what happened. So honor Syed. He was the fucking he was God, like that's what I think God is. God is these people, these players, they're all adding up to support you, right? And of course it's heartbreaking when you lose them, but they were here to be the watering and you're the flower. true challenge proof. I see the follow-up super chat. You said, should I stack silver? There's nothing wrong with making precious metals part of your investment thesis, but it always depends on like what's your goals and like where are you at with your mobility? Like, are you somebody that wants to travel a lot? Are you somebody that trusts the mint to hold the silver for you or the precious metals for you? Like, where are you at? Because there's so much knowledge involved here, and I think people do need to tap into. You feel me? Like, it's not just only a good investment all the time. Silver, quote unquote, is very suppressed. So that means there's a lot of upside potential from an investment standpoint. Sure, there's more ROI in silver than gold, but you need a fuck ton more silver to equate to the dollar value of the amount of gold per ounce, right? This is obvious. It's like a 10x difference, nearly. So somebody that might be a higher net worth individual might be less focused on silver because they saw that it's not the best chart. It's a shitty looking chart. Gold had a better looking chart. And when you're higher net worth, you're not looking for more ROI. Usually you're actually more conservative because you've made your money, right? Now it's about keeping your money, right? So silver has a lot more volatility. I believe there's some financial wisdom I just gave you right there. And if you had a block of silver, like a fucking kilo block, and then I poured out a bag of silver 1 ounce coins in front of you, you would clearly see a huge difference. So it's a lot easier to manage gold than it would be for you to self-custody the silver. Just depends. If you're somebody who lives in a place that you're absolutely obsessed with where you live and you love your community and you love your land and you love your house and you want to have a fuck ton of precious metals in a safe, then do that. But for me, I decided to convert 10% of my net worth last year into physical gold. It's not the same percentage now today based on dollar amount, but that was the decision that I made. I'm glad that I did it because I saw a better chart and I also have a more practical application and a practical investment strategy and thesis than maybe somebody who wants to like be in a house for 30 years in the same area and like doesn't care about being a military protector of this safe of fucking precious metals. If you're that type of person, you want to have like a shotgun handy and be like this vigilante type with all your silver coin canisters, then by all means have fun. But that's not the life I want to live. So, but am I telling you to not go that route if that's something that resonates with you? If that's what resonates with you, then do that, right? It's better than having dollars. But I think there's a better solution. It's crypto. It's Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. You should all know that. But the world will not honor these silver and gold coins. It will never. We're never going to go into a barter system. Humans don't have the consciousness to barter. We're very selfish. If shit hit the fan, it would be like Leave the World Behind. That movie was a documentary. Okay? We would not have the ability to peacefully barter silver and gold coins. And also, furthermore, in an apocalyptic scenario like that, I hate to use the word apocalypse in that way, but for the semantic purposes, you know what I mean? In that scenario where shit hit the fan, bro, no one cares about your gold coins. No one cares about your Rolex. Nobody cares about your car. I mean, they'll probably try to steal the gas from your car. But like nobody's going to be looking through the wiring of your phone to try to find silver. Like it's not going to get there for a long, long, long time. Okay. We're talking deep into the end before people start doing that type of stuff. But the initial phase of bartering, it's not possible. People are not able to work together right now because of technology. So the basic example here would be the person who has food or medicine would be valuable. If you had two, and I've said this so many times, so some of you might be exhausted in hearing this, but to answer the question in the super chat, if you had two people walk up to your door and one of them had a backpack full of silver and the other person had a backpack full of canned food, who do you think we're welcoming into the situation? You can answer that for me. And just be realistic here. We're moving tech way more technocratic than you've ever imagined. Probably by 2025, there will be no Uber drivers anymore. Like by the end, I should be careful. I would say 2026. There will be no more Uber and Lyft drivers or Bolt or whatever. That's done, dude. Done. Babysitters, done. Tutors, done. People who teach languages, all done. None of that. It will be artificial intelligence and robots. Your silver is fucking meaningless in a couple years. So it will only have a purpose if you're strategic with what your investment thesis is. But I want a lot of these people who are like silver and gold bugs to catch up to reality. And the other thing is the people that are like, well, gold will go way, 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 way. And by the way, you're hearing this from a person who has 10% of their net worth in gold. So this is not like somebody who has none. Okay. My point here is that I'm a real one, and this is the truth. Yes, gold will go up a lot in dollar value, but that just means the dollar is getting weaker. This will never bring you cash flow. You need cash flow. If you want to survive and thrive in a world that's going ultra technocratic and will have less people in the workforce, you must figure out your cash flow problems, not have a bunch of silver and gold. Trust me. If you could prioritize one or the other, use Pareto's principle, especially on old arcane stuff. So I'm not anti gold and silver. I gave a lot of wisdom there. I'm a realist. I know where things are headed, and I think cash flow is king. Dollars or fiat money, cash is still the utility until we get more blockchain technology, which we all know is coming. And of course, they will put silver and gold and these other precious metals, copper, palladium, etc. They will put it on the blockchain. Sure. But is that your gold then? You see, we're right back into the same fucking problem. They want you to have gold on the blockchain. They want you to have silver on the blockchain. They want you to have everything on the block. Your house will be mortgaged on the blockchain. That's the world we're heading into. We're not heading into a world that will have any utility for precious metals. So you need to catch up to that if you're new. And if that now, I think that actually rounds out a lot of the corners for people because people want to know, like, how should I invest? And I just laid out so much power, so much powerful thoughts that I think have real world utility and are considerate of where we're at and where we're going. And actually, that really inspires me a lot. Like these types of ideas, it's inspired me so much to launch the new program that I'm launching, which is Waters Above University. It will be my first time into creating and designing a full, thorough curriculum on how to navigate this new world. Like, to do it honorably and to do it where you're the one that's tapping into your creative essence and not just piggybacking and copycatting off of everyone else. Like you will actually do it in a way that resonates with you on a very, very deep level and hopefully tap in more into your communities because I know that I have the impact on you per se, but it's the ripple effect of you now tapping into something that you're passionate about. Doesn't have to be what I'm passionate about. I'm just teaching the system and the strategy so that you can monetize that. And so you could do it in a way where you're not going to make the same mistakes that I made. You're not going to have the common pitfalls that a lot of us had to go through when we were dealing with that C19 timeframe. So we're moving into a rapidly developing technocratic world, and we can't be blind to that shit, you know? And I'm not trying to be fearful here. I'm actually super inspired. I am so excited for the new world that's coming because I know how I'm going to navigate it. I'm not confused. I know that this impact that I have today is just getting started, and it's the same for all of you. The humans are not done. We're not. We have a transition phase to go through, but we cannot deny the way we're heading. Okay? Look at the fact that you all have iPhones now. You all have some sort of smartphone. Yeah, you can't deny that. You go around your city, you see more people wearing an Apple Watch than you see wearing a normal analog watch. You don't see any mechanical watches anymore. Kind of crazy, right? Like everything will be wearables. Everything will be feeding biometric data back into some cloud. You know, it's time to catch up and to do it honorably. That's really what I think matters most here. But for the people that are wondering when that Waters Above University is launching, it will be hopefully in the month of January 2025. So it's like my New Year's, like revolution is what I would like to call it. Just looking through some of the chat. Adam, appreciate your super chat. Sending lots of love. You said, hey, we're moving from London to Costa Rica, buy land, set up expat community, whole group of us. Can you pass your judgment on that as a matrix escape in terms of country? Oh, so you want my take on Costa Rica? I will be 100% vulnerable. I don't have any experience with Costa Rica. I've never been. I've heard very nice things. I've heard very bad things. Okay. But me, myself, I have no personal experience. But Adam, I know you're about to probably move forward with this. And I just want you to caution before committing to this. Please, please go visit there if you haven't already. Because maybe you have, but I'm just giving you this disclaimer because so many people like hear stories of somebody's like, one Australian says to another Australian, like, we fell in love with Bali and now we live there, and like then the next people are like, yeah, and then they move into this like place and then they have no personal experience with it. They're just going with somebody else's experience. So always go travel somewhere for an extended period of time. And if you really want the wisdom, go travel there when you know the weather is bad. Now, of course, in the situation with Costa Rica, it might not be often, but they might have a rainy season or some sort of like high humidity. I don't know. Okay. Again, I've never been there, but you feel where I'm coming from. Like, go to Amsterdam during their winter and you will have like rain every fucking day, and then this beautiful cute little city in the summer becomes not so nice during the winter. So you want to go travel there before making these huge commitments. A couple of times would be great. If you could select the time where there's not the most ideal weather, that's great, because then you get the rough part of the experience, not this perfect paradise version of it that you learned on some travel blogger's YouTube channel. I'm just trying to get you to be very like methodical here. You feel me? So I'm not against Costa Rica. I can't be because I've never been. But also, I want to be very cautious with these places because they're being pegged as like solutions. And you must wake up to this, guys. The New World Order knows what the fuck you're up to. They know what you're up to. They know all of your plans. So everyone thinks they're a genius by going and moving one place because they think it's going to be better. But the place doesn't make your life better. Okay? No place makes your life better. I've met people who live in the tropics that are depressed. I've met multimillionaires that hate their life. I've met people that are in the greatest relationships, but then they still have drug problems. No one thing solves your problems. Costa Rica, Adam, is not going to solve the issue. Okay? They still have their own government. They still have their own part and play in the script of the New World Order. There's no place that doesn't, you know? And I think a lot of right now we're hearing people be like, well, El Salvador has got this president and this president is this. Bro, these are temporary positions. You saw what happened with Milei, how many people in Argentina were like, "Yeah, the New World Order's losing." And it's like, bro, this boy kissed the wall too, wearing his kippa. His homie's wearing a yarmulke, fucking bowing to the wall. Like, is he Jewish? I'm not sure. But what's going on here? They're pledging allegiance to the flag. Okay? Costa Rica's no different. Have you heard of economic hitmen? Just be cautious in this idea that you're going to get more freedom somewhere or that some place is going to solve your problems, because that's not how life works. There's a holistic thing going on here. So I hope you feel where I'm coming from. I'm not against Costa Rica. I'm not for it. I'm just go experience it, try it out, get a taste of the rainbow, and then go from there. Oh, snap. Save Yourself said, my 8-year-old son asked for drums for his Christmas present. I thought of you and how you said on a previous live, learning an instrument is important. I ordered him an electric drum set. That's really cool. You know, it's cool that you opted for the electric drum set. That's a good place to start because the chaos and noise of a real acoustic set is probably going to be a little much during the learning phase. But then as he gets better, you know, we'll lean into the real. But it's great. That's really cool that he's even asking for such a thing, and especially drums, because that's an extension of the rhythm, right? And rhythm is important in life, and a lot of rhythm is missing right now in our lives because, yeah, again, very few people create real music. No offense. I mean, me myself, I do use DAWs and I make electronic music, and I'm not against it by any means. But there's nothing like learning a real piano or learning the real drums or learning the real guitar, singing with your real voice. And at the rate we're headed with digital music creation, it's like very few people are even going to know how to play instruments in the future. I think you might have heard me say this, Save Yourself. Remember, I said in the future, you know who the gods are going to be? A bread baker, a guitar player, somebody who knows how to sing. We're gonna look, I promise you, in 10 years when we see somebody playing even simple guitar, we're gonna burst out in tears. It's gonna be so fucking beautiful. Because by next year, you're gonna hear more artificial intelligence created music than you did last year. And the year after that, you'll hear more. And then so many years will go by to the point where very few people even know how to play these instruments. We'll just have the AI create it and do it for us. You're gonna watch somebody singing, and it's gonna look like a miracle. Seriously. Like, I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, you're gonna admire artists so much in the future. Because right now the lines are getting blurry. You're not sure what art is anymore. You go onto X and you don't even know if there's real events happening anymore because AI can recreate scenes that look lifelike. They can make up some deep fake video right now of Donald Trump saying the craziest shit and you'd all believe it. It's wild. Like, you can have Michael Jackson's Thriller be completely sang by Kermit the Frog, and AI will make that for you right now in seconds. And it will sound legit. So trust me, for those moms and dads out there that are scared to get your kids a drum set because it's going to be loud and noisy, I would maybe change your outlook on that. J and A Voices from Change, or J and A Voices for Change. Sending you lots of love. I appreciate you. I got the super, but I didn't see any comments. You did follow it up saying, let's open our mind. I'm not sure if that's what you wanted to share on the super. I also see, okay, now I'm seeing. You said, love your work. Question, why do people believe the lies about political parties and lawsuits against XRP? Life-changing wealth will come if we open our eyes and ears. Kids are so programmed. Well, the thing is, J&A Voiceless, is that people like a scapegoat. People like having the blame and victim technology. These are all things that kind of keep the world revolving, right? So it keeps us revolving around the sun. This is a very common behavior, right? People like having something to blame, even though they don't realize that it's the devil that's teaching you the most about life. You know, we said it earlier. Kendrick Lamar, he said, most blame it on the devil when they fall short. I blame it on my ego, Lord of all lords. Having that sense of awareness is massive because he's pointing out two key things. He's pointing out the behavior of the average person, and then he's also pointing out his realization that he's not like that person, and that his methodology for becoming self-reliant would be being accountable. Like, I need to make myself accountable. It's my ego that's the problem. It's not the devil. But what's funny is the truth of truths is that's the devil that's actually making this experience have spice. If you only had good, you would never know what evil is. If you only had evil, you would have no idea of what good is. This duality is not the finish line, it's what's teaching you about the Trinity. And from there, you expand and expand and expand. And that's the process of consciousness expansion. That's what I'm here to remind everyone of, not teach. It's what I'm here to remind you all of. And by the way, because I am interacting with you, you are helping me remember what I need to remind you. And that's the beautiful dance. Okay. Somebody's playing the violin, somebody's playing the timpani drum, somebody's singing, somebody's out there in the audience clapping their hands. We're all in this together. That's the beauty of what we're doing. Bobby, big super. I'm not sure where your follow-up is or anything else. I really hope that you have something to share. But other than that, really grateful for all of your continued support. I'm not sure if you're a Patreon supporter, but that's a very generous super, and I wish you would have maybe invested in this into the Patreon. That way, you could have gotten a massive amount of value. But hey, I mean, really grateful for your support, and I suppose I said something today that resonated with you. So I appreciate being a part of your journey. JNA Voices for Change also followed up saying, I'm a leader and would love my kids to follow my lead, break away from programming. Well, the thing is, JNA, is to get them to follow your lead, we need the element of trust. It's the same thing with like your wife, or if you're, I don't know if you're, yeah, okay. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, the point here is that if you're a man who's tuning into this right now and you want a better relationship with your woman, then there needs to be the element of safety, which is kind of extracted through the feeling state we call trust. It's no different for children. Again, the children are being designed in the mother's womb. They're taking on that kind of time and space and environment to develop, to be delivered to this matrix. So the womb is the matrix, right? You are the matrix. But, anyways, the point that I'm getting to, the utility in all of this, is that trust is the element, and the element gets there because of the feeling of safety. So what we can do, and the protocol that I've woken up to, is we want to be careful with how we program others into the idea of safety, right? I mean, we all remember C19, the 2.5 or so the 2 years and 2 months actually, that we all had to deal with that nonsense. We were being spell casted through spellcraft to be safe. Maybe many of you didn't fall for it, obviously, but there were many who did. And we were told, stand 6 feet apart, wear a mask, take the jab, do this, do that, do all under the guise of safety. All right. So we want to be very careful about how we use the technology of safety, because we don't want to make people weak and we don't want to destroy their egos. The ego is a good thing. It's your co-pilot. Just never let it take over the pilot's role. Yeah. So the utility in all of this is, if you want your kids to follow in your lead, then very be very methodical about how you get them to feel safe with you, and also how you get them to implement the technology of safety with others, and to never have them put in a situation where their safety is being manipulated because of good actors, which, by the way, the people who run this matrix, as you're aware, are psychopaths. The thing about a psychopath is they're an incredible actor. And a psychopath is willing to do very crazy shit and fit it into the guidelines and moralities of modern culture. Yeah. Haven't you all heard of this thing called it's part of the like LGBTQRS movement, this thing called what is it called? Minor attracted person? A maps? Have you guys heard of this fucking shit? Maps? Minor attracted person. aka a pedophile, right? But this is what that movement generates, because once the psychopathy grows and grows and grows, it just has to keep going. It's like a cancer, right? Now, there's no problem with people that are homosexual. That's not the point. But it's the deeper agenda and environment that we're working in right now culturally, and with the state of consciousness we're working with at this time. You can see the slippery slope. So one thing leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing, and now you go from having, transvestites, to then you have minor attracted persons. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? How did that all align that way? Well, that's what psychopathy is. It's like the gateway drug of it all. Well, safety is no different, guys. And what's funny is, if somebody who is ultra liberal or somebody who really believed in that movement heard me speaking right now, they would say that I'm the dangerous one. They would say I'm speaking dangerously. Confusing, right? But hey, it is what it is. Funny to bring that up, because one time somebody called me the most dangerous person in crypto. And I kind of like the ring, like the way that rolls off the tongue. I am the most dangerous person in crypto. Facts. You got to break the fucking ice to get to the water. I love this. SFB, you said speak about Albert Pike. I need to move through this quickly because I need to wrap this up soon. But you said, did he really predict World War III? Bro, this is the thing. This is everything that I've been saying adds up to this today about the script. You can't predict something that your bloodline scripted. World War III is not something to be predicted. It was something that was scripted. World War II was not predicted. It was scripted. That's like a dope bar. Another dope bar. Bars on bars on bars. It's one of the biggest lives that we've had in a while, so it's really beautiful that we've gotten 600 people hanging out with us to the end. Uncle Cam, the sauna is heating up quickly today. That's facts. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mike 440, this is it. Judas made Jesus what he is today. What that is the person who stabs you in your back made your spine in a better posture. Are you hearing me? The person who stabs you in the back made your posture better. When someone steps on your feet while you're dancing, you can get agitated with them, or you can become a better dancer. You can sit around and blame everything you want. You can blame the people who betray you, or you could realize that the one who betrayed you made you enlightened. You just need to realize what's going on here. Now, that doesn't take away from the betrayal. I get it. But it's the combination of the awareness that the betrayal is not actual betrayal. Yeah, you stabbed me in the back, but I grew fucking wings. Keep stabbing me. I love it. See, that attitude and that energy, it makes you unbeatable. It's time to become fucking unbeatable, guys. This is a very sad thing to say. Random. I think you. When I say the name out loud, it sounds like I'm saying random Jew. But for anyone who's just listening to this right now, this person's name is JOO. So I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But anyways, you said Bearable Bull only checks in with you because he wants price targets. Dude is a shill that made money selling hopium to gullible morons. This is kind of showing you where we're at right now. This comment, okay? This is the comment that shows you where we're at. That assumption right there is sad on so many levels, right? But something had to happen for you, some relationship you have going on in life had to be that way for you to line that up that way. Now, I don't know who you are, obviously. I really don't even know who Bearable Bull is, although I have spoke to him many times. And there's no point in defending this. I don't even know why I'm giving this energy. It's just I want to defend, but I know that that's not what this is. Like Bearable Bull's a man. He's a real man. He's doing his own thing. I've had an incredible friendship with him since the first day we met. He's allowed me a platform to speak my truth in a way that I know isn't good for his audience in some ways. The fact that I am so direct about my outlook, particularly on the XRP army. And yet he allowed that on his channel so many times. In the not in what I would assume is not in the best interest of what he's doing, but ultimately I realized through that he's a real one because he knows that I'm out here calling out the XRP cult every week, every time I have an opportunity to. Not because I'm against the XRP cult, it's because I'm here to awaken people to cults in any capacity. The Bitcoin cult, the Chainlink cult, the Hex cult, the fucking Cardano cult. There's so many cults here. The Pepe cult. They don't even realize what they're doing. Okay? It's not even about the XRP thing, but again, he makes most of his content about XRP. So the fact that he's even allowed me onto his platform so many times shows me that he actually wants the truth to come out to his community, to the people that have been attracted to his art. And for that, I honor him. And also have had conversations with him privately where it's just been like, hey fam, how is your family doing? How are your people doing? Like, where are you at? Just love, it's not about the fucking crypto market. But anyways, let's move on. Doesn't need to be about that. Got a super chat from Mr. Oh my God. We're back here again. Okay, speaking of cults, this is a good one. BSV is real, rest are fake. They fear the truth. Whoa. Is like David Miscavige listening into my live stream today? What is up with the BSV cult in particular? What is did I miss something? I feel like I woke up one day in Twilight Zone. Didn't we have fun with this last week? Like looking at the BSV chart. It's like one of the first times I pulled up a chart during a live stream because I try not to do that. The BSV chart is fucking hilarious. What a sack of shit that coin is. And what is the thing going on here with Craig Wright? Like, I mean, it's the ongoing, he's the Satoshi psyop, but it's the defense of that we're getting from these. I thought Mr. Origami was like a. No, this can't be real, bro. You're like, I think you're trolling. Like funny troll, like Wolfpack troll style. I'm gonna write this off as Mr. Origami is fucking awesome. This has to be like you're using Waters comedic relief. Like you're doing what I do. This is too sly. You're too sly right now with this. That you have to be the pause, laugh, get. I know it's been a spicy sauna today. It's gotten hot in here. We're all sweaty as fuck. There's no towels left. Like the fire is burning out. We're at the end of our session, but this is like you threw this in the room like a grenade just for laughs. It has to be, dude. Because I know you. You've had so many supers in the past and some really fascinating things to share, questions to ask, and that is like, Mama Mia. That's a pipe bomb where like you weren't sure how long it would take to detonate, and now like everyone has nails in their skin. Like it's some shit like that, bro. Uh, I love it. Super funny. I love when my own people in here like troll the cultural moment, because that's what that has to be. And if it's not, then fuck, dude. The BSV psyop really got people. You know, that MK Ultra is strong, baby. Tony Labrum, I appreciate you sending lots of love. You said the markets are run on an algorithm, right? Have you heard of a trader called ICT and who taught you market TA? Big up Jordan from, I don't know, from the UK. Shout out Tony. Um, no, I don't know who ICT is. As for who taught me technical analysis, is that what you're asking? As for my take on what runs the market is ran by gematria, numerology, and astrology, which is the energy of how these markets work. We are humans who are emotional, physical vessels who are controlled by those energies until we become enlightened to them. And as we go through the process of enlightenment, towards those three subjects I just explained or I just exposed, you have this thing called belief. And depending on your level of consciousness and how you believe in things, then it takes shape from there. So I am not here to convince you of what runs the markets, but that's my truth. And as for who taught me how to do TA, I did not get taught by anyone. I studied Wyckoff method. So all I did was I found, oh, actually, shout out to Tiho, the Arcane Bear. I'm not sure if he follows along with my art, but I know he follows me over on X, and I've gotten on a call with him once. He's a really fucking awesome guy. He's like been around on YouTube way longer than I have, and he's a Wyckoff guy, and he's the first person I ever saw using Wyckoff method with crypto. And I was very inspired by that. I didn't take too much time to dive into his work, but I did see his application of it. And the problem is when I discovered him, I had to get my shit together because I was running three businesses, e-commerce businesses that kind of came to a screeching halt because of C19. And moving and a bunch of other elements, a bunch of other moving parts, and I really had to get my head in the game and I had to generate money fast. So I found a couple of people on the internet, as we all do, but where I settled on was an OG. You know, some of you probably did this with Elliott wave theory, right? Also very useful. So I did this with Richard Wyckoff. Instead of watching influencers with O-face thumbnails, you know, trade on 100x leverage, a bunch of shit coins, I decided to learn a skill and not be entertained. I was over the entertainment and I was ready for actually tapping into some real deal knowledge. So I went and I studied Wyckoff method and I applied it, and then I included my own esoteric take on the markets, and then it took shape from there. But there's no one particular person that I could say like taught me how to do technical analysis. It was definitely early inspired by Tiho, and then a lot of things are just generic, general things that you could get from anywhere, like a lot of the crosses, utility of EMA, MAs, RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands. Like those are all things you could learn in separate tutorials very simply. I just put my spin on things. You know, I put my spin on things using Fibonacci numbers and, you know, all the stuff that I cover in my art. Got a super chat from the Freed M Culture. Appreciate you. You said Peace Waters. Ever heard of Supreme Mathematics? Sounds kind of word salady to me, but no, I haven't. Uh, my only thing that I get into with maths is stuff with Pythagoras a lot. I'm really interested in that, and in Kabbalah. That's been very interesting. But no, not sure what Supreme Mathematics is. Appreciate your super chat. Got a super chat from Infinite Light Wizardry. Appreciate you sending lots of love. You said, do you see a time when Zionism is no more? Question mark. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to like lay out some of the foundation of what we believe Zionism is, because people hear me say Zionism and then they immediately go into me talking about the Jews, and then they'll call me like an anti-Semite or something like that. But it's not the case. Like, it's not only Jews that are utilizing this mind parasite technology called Zionism. It's every Abrahamic religion uses this. All governments use this. It's the way of the matrix. So how about this? Instead of the do I see a time when Zionism is no more? How about I just operate in a state of consciousness and awareness that it is what it is, and I know what I can do about it? You know, like, do you vibe with that? It's more about like it, whatever. Like, look at it like weather, okay? Like, if it's rainy today, then put on a fucking raincoat. I don't want no more rain though. We like the rain. It's good sometimes. Droughts are problematic. Why would I ever not want something no more? It's just it will be. It's the matrix, man. This is a place for trial and error. This is a place for cause and effect. This is a place for do's and don'ts. This is a place for all. Be okay with that. See, even though I don't practice Zionism and I speak out against it, I suppose, I shouldn't say that I speak out against it. I'm more of a reveal to you what it is. Because these people, and I got to say, I know I'm sounding a little bit preachy right now, but just be here with me, okay? The people that keep blaming the Jews are so fucking boring. The people that just blame the Jesuits all day, like, come on, dude. They're harmless as fuck. Every religious person, they're harmless. 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 No impact. No impact. Just skeletons with emotions. Okay? Stop giving power to this shit. You know what's so powerful about Zionism? Is that it's a mentality, and that means it could be a part of anything, really. And that's why it is a part of so many things. We once honored creation. You feel me? And that's why I think my flow state is a little bit more safe, because I honor creation as it is. I honor the windy day. I honor the hurricane. I honor the sunny day. I honor the dark. I honor the sun. I honor the moon. I honor the church. I honor the soil, because I've realized that the church is for them and the soil is for me. But it's not like I want to evaporate the whole existence of this so-called sacred place, even though it's not sacred, even though it's been taught to you by Zionists. Funny enough. See, that even reveals it. It's like there's nowhere in a Bible that tells you to build the church. It's the mind of a Zionist that says we need to trap you all here inside of this building and dedicate a day to this. Boom. That's Zionism. It's a mind state. It's a way of, it's an outlook. It's an interpretation. So sure, the Talmud has a lot of fucked up shit in it, but a lot of things have a lot of fucked up shit in it. And it's that it is what it is. So my way of going about it is I don't want to avoid it, and I don't want to completely get rid of it, because I see it as a part of the balance. Yo, infinite light wizardry. Like, if you're still here hanging out with us, bro, imagine everyone was like you. I don't know what you do, by the way, but like, if everyone was like me, there would be no, everyone going to be a digital content creator, artist, person who's like speaking, words of wisdom into a microphone? Bro, no way. Like, this is what I excel at. And the reason it became what it is because I am passionate about it and I'm committed to it. I'm dedicated, and it gives me prana. There's somebody out there that when they're making pizza, or when they're ice skating, or when they're playing basketball, or when they're feeling purpose as I feel purpose doing this. And I love that. It's the same thing with all the so-called evil and darkness and horrible shit that's going on. It's happening, guys. It's just why try to turn it all off? It's like it removes the sense of balance. So that's my take on it. I don't see a time when there is not a powerful way of perceiving this reality that is very unconscious, that wants to dominate over the spiritualism and replace all of the spiritualism with materialism. That is what Zionism is. It's actually funny that I have to explain this to some people. And then they get confused and they think it's all about the Jews, and it's not. But don't you see the cube symbolism? Don't you see that in the Abrahamic religions? I mean, look at this tefillin that the Hasidim wear, wrapping the rings around the forearm, the rings of Saturn, to this black cube on the skull and on the bicep. This is witchcraft. Like, I mean, anyways, let's move on. Thank you, Jason. Yeah, I believe I did cover that in the expansion mastermind. D, brother, I mean, are you fucking for real in this comment section? You're one of the best examples of type less, listen more. Like, are you really responding to what I said about this? Wow, yeah. Anyways, I should move on from that. Yeah, like this comment is fucking ridiculous. Missed the point. This is called, folks, listening with your oh no, I shouldn't do it. I have to behave. The beer guy says all this money talk, gold and silver is the only real money. We are the best spot right now to flip the script. My take on what real money is it's your gnosis and your skills. That's what real money is. Gold and silver are fucking useless, but your skills and your wisdom are the real currency. And for the people who are just joining in, you're probably missing some context. But earlier we spoke about gold and silver as an investment. I saw something that I wanted to address. The Freed M culture. You said King Los, the rapper, sucks as a person. He might have changed, but I hold grudges that I'm working on. Do you know him? But also, I can get why he would seem that way, and it's because he's accessing a very high plane of knowledge and awareness, and he always has to lower himself to have conversations with people, and that could get very tough for people like him. again, he's having conversations that you probably watch on like interviews or something, and it comes off as this arrogance or whatever, but like it's just when you want to talk with people that allow your knowing. And he's in conversations a lot that I've seen where he's with people that are trying to control the situation. And naturally, as somebody who's learned, like a very high level individual, that triggers some defense mechanisms of like, yo, like I know what's up, and probably has to deal with that. I could compassionate it. I'm not trying to say that's a good thing, but I think a majority of the time, like when people say somebody sucks as a person and there's some celebrity or person that has some sort of presence in whatever industry, it's not because we know the people. It's usually because we've seen some interview or whatever, and it's like the judgment comes off of that, which is fair. Whatever, you're entitled to whatever you'd like, but unless you actually know him, I mean, I could see if you were like, yeah, King Los beats his wife, or King Los, yelled at his children about something stupid, and like I saw him cheat in a business deal, or he scammed people on some internet. Like it's like, what's your actual reasoning for why someone sucks? Because I could totally understand from his perspective, like if he has to go on an interview and people are just bedazzled by what he's saying in his rhymes, but they don't actually know what he's saying, it feels like you wasted your energy. Happens a lot. Frangipani says your voice is similar to the. It's because I am the PS5 game. Michael Havens, appreciate you. You said, appreciate you, Waters. What's your take on free will? All right, I'm going to kind of wrap this up real quick because I got to get moving. It's been 2.5 hours. My take on free will is this. I don't know the individual that said this woman's name. I wish I could remember. I really, really do. But she said something that really resonated with me, which is free will is when you make all of your mistakes. Now, I've spoke with Decode Your Reality, Logan, so many times about this, and he believes that we're in a scripted reality, and I resonate deeply with this. Now, he has his own systems that are very intricate and amazing, the way that he breaks down what's happening here in this matrix. I have my own outlook, but we actually complement each other in many ways. And I've always brought that up whenever I've spoken with him, and I'll continue to bring up that quote because I feel it's extremely powerful and it's something that's easy to forget. But every time I say it, it feels like I'm checking back in. You know what I mean? Like I'm checking back in on what's really going on. So, free will is when we make our mistakes. That's not my quote. I heard this somewhere. I just forgot the individual who said it. Super powerful. I resonate a lot with the fact that we're in a scripted reality. And whenever we think we're the one that's making the choice, like solely your ego making the choice, then it's likely to be the thing that we associate with later on as the quote unquote mistake or failure or mishap or whatever, insert opportunistic moment, because it's an opportunity. Like, see, the thing is that embrace the so-called mistakes, embrace the utility of the free will. You're going to learn the most there. I haven't talked about this with Logan. Maybe I'll bring this up in the next time we chat, but it's like Logan knows the code, right? But like if you did everything by the code, what lessons would you learn? And I think he would understand where I'm coming from with that. See, your lessons aren't going to be learned from you being on this perfect, clean path towards whatever it is that you're designed to go. Detours come up, the terrain changes. Even a place that usually has a perfect paved road sometimes has icy snow on it. Okay? That's where you learn how to drive better. Breathe in air. Appreciate your super chat. You said, How to deal with people whom you love being turned against you by a person who spreads lies about you. Um, I mean, if you're in the situation, one second. Yes, Tony, I did answer your super chat earlier. I hope you heard it. If not, you could listen to the playback. In regards to people you love being turned against you by someone who spreads lies about you, I mean, usually this is the case with like a sharing your kids with somebody else. Like if you were in a partnership that broke up and your kids spend time with you and spend time with the other partner, right? And then these narratives are being designed and everything is being carved out the way that the one individual believes things should be in their truth. And then they use this to kind of program the kids, right? That's a very common thing. Now, there's some other situations where this tends to be a case, and that would be like in school or in competitive situations like the workforce, right? Where like you want to get a promotion, so you're ending up competing against other people who are able to also get the job, and then there's just this catty type, you know, energy that people start being vindictive and etc. My take is very simple. Shut up and be better. I know that breaks hearts. Some people are like, fuck, can't believe you just said that. But the thing is that it's the truth. Don't ever talk badly about someone else who is talking badly about you. Show them that you're the better person. Let your actions be what proves your state of beingness. Shut up and be better. When someone tries to betray you and lies about you and talk shit about you, that should motivate you to be more actionable, be more pure and honorable in your actions. And then you're in a relationship with God. You don't have to worry about what other people think. Everything else will sort itself out. But in the situation where your ex or whoever is lying to you, lying to your kids about you, maybe that's the case. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to pretend like I know because I'm working with very little context here. But let's say that's the case. Let's say your ex is talking shit about you to your kids. But if you just keep being the most honorable mother or father and you just don't ever speak negatively about the ex and you just keep being the best guardian and leader to your children, they're going to realize on their own what the truth is. But if you stoop down to that level and you try to defend the narrative of like, you know, then it just creates this messy chemistry. Shut up and be better. And I practiced that all throughout my time in the workforce. And what I realized in it is I was always the one getting the promotions. I was the one that was succeeding because it's your actions that actually speak for you. And once you open up your mouth and you become that catty like type of person that wants to be in, yeah, I got to wrap this up, man. I'm like 2.5 hours in. I got other obligations, guys, but you get my point. Just seal your lips and be more actionable, be better in your actions, be pure and honorable in your actions. Don't ever stoop down to that level and talk badly about the other person who's quote unquote, you know, defaming you and making you look like crap. It's impossible to look like crap when your actions are golden. Warrior Bones, appreciate your super chat. You said on a road trip with my cousin and his 10-year-old son, and general life advice you could give my 10-year-old nephew. Advice at 10? Yeah, maybe. Advice at 10. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, embrace that as if it's an extension of you and continue to embrace that until whatever it aligns as, you know, like whatever it reveals to you is the exact thing that will set you on the trajectory or the next step or the next level in this thing called life. So let me be super simple as if I was speaking to a 10-year-old. I would just want you to allow what you're passionate about right now be the gate that opens up the doors to your next adventure. Do not allow the culture and society and the things that are going on in movies and video games to distract you from the thing that you're magnetized to. I hope that's simple and I hope that resonates. Just allow whatever you're excited about be what unlocks these new adventures in life. Don't ever allow someone to take away that excitement from you. That's really where things start to become problematic because that excitement is everything. Let me see. Tumin, I appreciate your super chat. You said, High waters, you're a gift. Can I ask your thoughts about tattoos? I'm a Mongolian and I want to get a tattoo of a Mongolian warrior, but realize the symbol might not be the best. What do you think? Well, have the awareness that all symbols are just sigil magic and all symbology comes back to the as above, so below. So everything that is below in the body and Mother Nature is mirrored or reflecting the above and vice versa. So there's nothing really demonic or evil about any symbols. And I know some people like will be like, "Oh, there's this one evil symbol," but we've done this so many times on this channel where I've showed you that it's just tied back to the cosmos. It's just tied back to the human body. That's all. Now, with that out of the way, what's the purpose of the tattoo? Like, is that really the way to be investing your money, or is that like, is this really representing you? What's the meaning, right? Because I'm not against the tattoos per se, but it's just like a lot of the times we're doing it just because of like there's some attachment to the what it will be received as. You understand? Like some people wear a certain outfit or they do something mostly to just get compliments or mostly to just get people to look at them. So, like, are you going at it from that angle? Like, is this tattoo the best way to represent the idea or the thing you're resonating with? Is the tattoo the ultimate way to do it? I'm not sure. Maybe in prison it is, but like, I mean, for real, no offense to prisoners. I'm just saying, it's like in general, like you have to check in with yourself. Like, why are you doing this? So we're hitting it from two angles there. It's not that the symbol is not the best or not the right one. It's just what's the purpose? And if you feel aligned with the purpose and you feel inclined to do it, then by all means, go do it. I would never want to persuade you otherwise. The beer guy said I'm blocked from Super Chat. I don't know why you would be. I answered a Super Chat from you earlier, I believe, or at least I've been seeing your comments this entire time, and I don't think any moderator here would have, no moderator here or me has blocked you because I'm seeing everything you're sharing. So I'm not sure what the case is. Sebastian Zatia says, longtime follower, check your buddy Gavin Gregory about BSV. I sense your perspective is polarized without knowing the details. It's the thing that I am not here to give my energy to those details, Sebastian. Like, that's not my purpose. You understand? If Gavin, which by the way, shout out to him. And remember, like, I know about him as a fitness YouTuber from a while ago. When I spoke with him personally, we didn't even talk about crypto really. We mostly spoke about health and wellness. Now, I don't know anything about his take on BSV, nor do I give a shit because that's his art, that's his creation, and it is what it is, right? There's a flavor for everyone here in this matrix. But like my whole thing is like I've always been telling people the white paper, the dev team, the this, that, and the third, like I don't give a shit about those things. That's not my purpose. Okay. I am here to provide a very specific outlook on a very specific set of concepts and esoteric uh, instruments and utility. I'm the esoteric investor. All the other people are going to be sharing this other stuff, and that's fine. If that resonates with you, awesome. But for me, like I'm trying to prevent myself from going down those rabbit holes because I've never once seen those rabbit holes lead to anywhere except for a bunch of wasted energy and time. All that time that I'd be looking into BSV would be distracting or taking away from me creating the art that I know will actually make a fucking impact on this earth. Me agreeing with who the real Satoshi is a waste of my fucking time and everyone else's, honestly. Because what is there really on the other side of this? Is there the I told you so? You see how like small that vibe is, like how awful that type of person is? Because I feel like that's all this is becoming. The whole BSV thing is to be like, told you so. Like, fuck that guy. Whoever that type of person is that acts like that is that's not my people. I'm not here to be surrounded by a bunch of people that are waiting for the day to be like, I told you so. Horrible type of person. Like the least interesting person on this earth to me. Because that's all this feels like. That's all this feels like. It just kind of seems like it's adding up to there's going to be the day where Craig Wright is Satoshi and every Bitcoiner is wrong and everyone is wrong and the Bitcoin Satoshi vision people are right. And then what do you fucking do? Do you throw a party together? Do you guys have a group orgy? Like, what do you do? You see? It's it's the worst, really. Like you're all getting sucked into the tug of war between the left and the right. It's no different than the Trump and Kamala Harris bullshit. Like it's time to expand consciously. Now, if Gavin doesn't vibe with that, then whatever, man. Like, but I just do not see what's the purpose on the other side of it. I just don't. So I'm not going to be lost in that cyclone. And I hope that stream of consciousness I just shared gets people to see that, like, I'm going to be like that pretty much exclusively about everything when it comes to the nitty gritty of these blockchain technologies. Because how fucking sad, and this is the final thing I'll say in it, how fucking sad if you are right about this whole thing, you're just worshiping blockchain technology. You're just worshiping the black cube. So this whole time that you're chasing this feeling, this cheap hit of dopamine to be the guy who's right or the person who's right, you see, they got you. The spider caught you in the web somewhere. Sure, you're not completely wrapped up in his web, but you're stuck somewhere on it, somewhere on the outside. And that spider is encroaching. It's getting closer and closer and closer. D brother, you care tremendously about what I say, which is the reason why you've been here for 2 hours. Your whole existence is because of me at this time. You have given all of your energy to us. Sorry. Your energy is going into one basket and one basket only. Thank you for it. The astral guide, very much truth. Appreciate you, Carla. Appreciate you being here with us. Nacho says, "What if I have no passion?" I don't believe that. If you have no passion, it's because you're distracted, and you're distracted because you're giving your energy to stuff outside of you. Once you go within, you will realize what passion means. Passion in French, passion, it means pain. Okay. Pain is a feeling. And on this duality spectrum, on the other side of pain is pleasure. And what we've realized is that even something that is pleasure can become pain. And even something that is pain can become pleasure. You can laugh so hard that you cry, and you can cry so hard that you laugh. That's the duality of comedy tragedy. You must go within, feel again. The reason you say you have no passion is because you're numb. And the only way to be numb is to not be with yourself. You are severed outside of your own body. I want you to seat yourself back into your spine. Be here. Then you'll know what your passion is. Peter McCardle, no, I didn't even know that there's a possibility to do that. To ban words in super chats. Tiffany, I appreciate your super. You said, I appreciate your art. Well, appreciate you. You said, I've been struggling with mood swings since having my daughter 14 months ago. I eat pretty healthy most of the time, but I do lack sleep. Hmm. Okay, a couple things you could be looking into, and these are things that, again, I'm very playful with. I'm kind of in my process of trying out things as well, is consider light more, like get sunlight in your eyes when you wake up in the morning. Be more conscious of that. So when you wake up first thing in the morning, don't look at the phone, go look at the sunlight. Even if it's rainy, just by putting your body outside, even if it's under an umbrella or under the balcony of your apartment or house or whatever, under the roof, it doesn't matter if you have a porch or patio or something, even if it's cloudy, just by getting your eyes outside, the iris to be open to that natural light, that is all it takes. Reset a lot of these hormonal activities and then put you in a better balance. And then also, before you go to sleep, try your best to avoid this red light. So if you can invest in maybe a pair of these like red light blocking glasses, or sorry, blue light, excuse me, blue light blocking. Very sorry. Again, dude, I'm at 3 hours. I need to kind of move on, and I really want to answer all these supers. So we're at the tail end of a marathon. I haven't even taken a fucking sip of water. But yeah, you want to you want to consider, and they're really cheap. Consider investing in some blue light blocking glasses. That would be good, especially if you're like one of those 9 to 5 people that works from a computer quite often. I myself am even wearing these glasses during the earlier part of the day. So first thing in the morning, get real light, real sunlight in your eyes. Avoid the blue light from the screens. Then avoid it very in the close window to going to sleep. And if you can watch the sunrise, please prioritize watching the sunrise. And if you can prioritize watching the sunset, please prioritize watching the sunset. Just if you can, give yourself that 10 to 15 minutes, reset that hormonal activity, get it more in tune with your natural circadian rhythm, and then avoiding this blue light with these glasses when you're in the situation where you need to be in front of this artificial blue light is awesome. I mean, I think you can get a pair on Amazon or whatever website for like $20. They're pretty high quality ones too that are like still under $50 for these glasses. Do your research, of course. Now, outside of that, maybe consider exercise if you're not doing that either. Mood dramatically enhances when you do resistance training. So even if you're a female, nothing wrong with doing some resistance training. You know, you're not going to get jacked. Trust me. Yeah, so consider that. And then outside of that, it's about diet, you know. But I think all of these things that I teach in my expansion mastermind are really powerful. There's two dedicated chapters called Heal Thyself, part 1 and 2. They're dedicated to health and wellness. Those I go over everything in that. Very, very, very powerful. And that's, you know, one of those investments where I think you're actually going to be able to prevent a lot of the like hokey pokey snake oil shit that's out there on the market, you know, like avoiding a lot of unnecessary supplementation. And that also fucks up your liver and your gut microbiome. So most of the stuff that I'm teaching the expansion mastermind actually saves you a lot of money because I just go for the things that I know are optimal and more in tune with your, your seeking of homeostasis. So anyways, Tiffany, appreciate you. And guys, I gotta head out soon. I love you all. Okay, Tiffany says three times a week, but I have to wake up at wake up 2 times a night. Is this because of is this because of your child, or do you work late night shifts? If you're putting yourself through this late night shift work stuff, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, Tiffany, I mean, just the blue blocking glasses is powerful. I believe that could be very helpful. Also, there's it's called f.lux. You could put it on your computer and it will block the blue light. It's pretty great. It's not the greatest, but it does work. And there's a similar application you could download for your phone. MT says, see, this is how you guys know that I'm not a fucking AI, because I start getting like, I'm like exhausted now. It's been 3 hours talking straight, and I put so much energy into today's live stream. Like so much of my life I poured into this one. This is probably going to be the best live I've ever done from start to finish. But I feel like, yeah, AI ain't doing this shit. It's a joke because some people think that I'm an AI. MT says, what superfood do you think everyone should include in their diet? What I would say is avoid getting caught up in this idea of superfoods, because this is like one of the biggest buzzwords that really gets in the way of people just keeping things simple. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting some goji berries or golden berries or, you know, some amala powder, or, you know, you can go crazy like that, but nothing replaces being hydrated. Okay. You need to be effectively hydrated. Otherwise, all this shit doesn't work. All these so-called superfoods. So I would say avoid more than you add. Okay, keep it simple. Like, you know, if I could give you a superfood, it would be like in season, fresh, as ripe as possible watermelons with seed. So seeded watermelons. That's it. That's the most powerful. Like, that's all. That's going to rehydrate you on a cellular level. Something protein in isolation can't do, something fiber in isolation couldn't do, something that lipids in isolation obviously can't do, something that supplements, pills, and potions cannot do, but watermelon can. And it's powerful. It's more powerful than drinking water. It's more powerful than distilled water. It's nature's delivery of the distilled waters packed with organic minerals into something that you're designed to eat without any technology, without needing of cooking or any of that. But then when we start getting into other things, you start having a purpose for it. And that's where I would avoid, like, that's the avoidance, right? So anything that anyone's going to recommend, it's just going to be like, oh, it does this, like a level D bro. I don't know who this is, but just kind of proving my point here. they say pumpkin seeds and papaya seeds will cleanse your colon, right? Okay, so we have a purpose for that. This individual believes in this colon cleanse, and they're attaching on these two foods to that, right? That's fine, but that's momentary. And I don't think a superfood is something that's just momentary. So my take on things might differ dramatically from a lot of people. Like, I think of something, can I do it every single day in isolation and actually heal myself completely? And then after I'm done healing myself, can I live off of it? And that's where that watermelon with seed would come into play. So again, controversial. Maybe a lot of people disagree, and that's completely fine. But yeah, like in this case, the full fat Greek yogurt, definitely not. But if you were to just have that in isolation and fast on that, or feast on that, as we can say, you would fucking die. So you can't have that in isolation solely for long periods of time without absolutely destroying yourself. You will become chronically dehydrated. Your hair will become white and gray faster. Your nails will become brittle. I mean, it's like yeah, yeah, this is it. This is it. This is where we're going to leave it today. Dustin has just given you the clear pill. If you want a superfood, 3D Doritos. Thank you. Thank you for being the mediator. All right, I love you guys. Truly, we're having fun here. It's been 3 hours. Lolo Blondo, everybody that's helped with moderating today, you guys are beautiful. Today was a marathon stream, one of the most in the pocket streams I think we've had from start to finish. Wow, so many beautiful moments. I'm really grateful for hanging out with you guys today. Also, tomorrow I will have the What I'm Investing in special. It will be available on patreon.com/watersabove for the mastermind community membership. I will have it out around this time tomorrow. I'm going to be going over every single investment that I have. So it's going to be over 20 different charts. Going to be covering, obviously, all of those altcoins. I'm going to be getting a little bit into investment thesis and my take on the next month now that we've moved through eclipse season as of a couple days ago. Got this final time frame for Mercury station retrograde, which I've been talking a lot about, this Mercury retrograde, and just kind of wrapping up some of my thoughts before we get closer to this election, which is clearly taking a lot of energy from everyone lately, and a lot of assumptions and a lot of that sort of stuff. So I'm going to be the clarity amongst all of the confusion is my hope in it. And I appreciate and love every one of you. Really was an amazing live stream, and I'll be catching some of you tomorrow. Mastermind community, I really appreciate all of your support. Everyone else, appreciate you all joining us today. Wishing you all an amazing rest of the weekend in this matrix. Much love.